I thought last night's Impact was pretty good, actually. I thought they had a lot of energy. There was over 2,000 people in the arena. In fact, I think the final number for the TV taping in Edmonton was like 2,030. And which is really good for a TV taping. The previous night at Victory Road, they had 2,700, so they dropped. But back to back nights, it's a television taping. I get it. But 2,000 for a TV taping for TNA is pretty damn good. So all things considered, right? So Santino greeted Mike Santana outside the host venue, and Santino said that TNA management has forbidden Santana and Trick Williams from physical contact outside of a sanctioned match. Santana asked, "What is he supposed to do if Trick puts his hand on him?" Santino said he wouldn't blame Santana, but he doesn't want their Bound for Glory match jeopardized. And he goes, "I got it." That, my friends, is called foreshadowing, by the way, just in case you didn't know. All right, so we get Frankie Kazarian. He's coming out for the King's speech. If you thought this Invasion Showdown, the feud between NXT and TNA was dumb before, they made it even dumber with this King's speech thing. Now, I'm going to complain about the creative here because there's so many plot holes. But what I will say is I thought the performances for the most part were pretty good. And the crowd was really into it. But the plot holes are just asinine here. So Kazarian brings out Kalani Jordan, right? And he's like kind of berating her a little bit. And then he brings out Trick Williams. He calls out Trick Williams. Trick Williams shows up because he's saying that he could beat Trick Williams. Which I'm just like, so they're both heels, but I get it. Okay, so one side versus the other. So he's talking crap to them. He said Kazarian said the only reason Trick is champion is because he beat the buffoon Joe Hendry. Kazarian said Trick would not have beaten him had he been champion. Whoop that Trick. So Trick comes out, babyface reaction. They're chanting NXT. They're chanting whoop that Trick. Okay. Trick said that if Kazarian calls himself a king, that makes him Tricky the Emperor. Kazarian took offense, but Trick said Kazarian is a second-rate champion and a second-rate business. I'm pretty sure he's talking about TNA, full of second-rate talent. He said this Lord told him this Mike Santana touches him without provocation. Again, foreshadowing. Their TNA championship match at Bound for Glory would be called off. Trick said he's the reason TNA is on fire, which Kazarian took issue with. Trick said it's not because of Santana, Leon Slater, or the Hardys, which naturally brought out Matt Hardy. Hardy walked onto the stage while fans chanted his last name, and Matt said they seem to have some self-esteem issues. Hardy said that he seemed like the NXT wrestlers were burying the TNA wrestlers to make themselves feel better. Hardy credited TNA being on fire to Santana, Slater himself, and his brother. No mention of Hendry. Hardy said TNA is just like him. He will not die. Kazarian asked where his brother was. So now Kazarian is like taking up for Trick. Keep in mind, at TNA Showdown, Kazarian and Trick are going to be on opposite sides. This makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Kazarian asked Hardy where his brother was. Oh, that's right. He's not allowed in this country. And then Kazarian said he's jealous of Jeff Hardy because he wishes he wasn't allowed in this dump of a country of Canada, of course, which I thought was funny. Leon Slater came and joined Matt. And then, of course, Indy Hartwell made her entrance because Jordan's catchphrase is no one can do it like Lonnie. I'm going to say that again. Her entire catchphrase, her money-making catchphrase is no one can do it like Lonnie. We need a little work there, Lonnie. That is not very interesting of a catchphrase. Taz used to say, beat me if I can, survive if I let you. You're saying no one's like Lonnie? Do we want to be like Lonnie? I know you're the champion, but you're about to lose to Indy Hartwell. So, all right. So, of course, all these, this thing just went on fucking forever. It's a long talking segment, and we got to a 6-person tag. So, there you go. But look, it wasn't bad, but the plot holes are there. So now we're going to get Kalani Jordan, Frankie Kazarian, and Trick Williams, right? Kalani Jordan is on Team NXT for the women. That doesn't make any sense. Kazarian's on the TNA, or Kalani Jordan's on the TNA women's match. She's the captain of the TNA women for Showdown. Frankie Kazarian is on the TNA men's roster in that match. and Trick Williams is on the NXT, but now they're teaming against TNA. It's so stupid. All right, so Trick, Kalani, and Frankie, they team up. And the baby faces, of course, won. Trick Williams bumped into Mike Santana. Mike Santana beat him up. Kazarian went back inside the ring, and he got the Swanton 450 from Leon Slater for the 3 count. So a lot of like the people were into the match though. But I think they're into NXT, they're into Trick, and they're just like into everybody. And afterwards, there's a big TNA chant. So we got Tommy Dreamer, Tum Tum himself, who does these long, drawn-out promos, these very emotional promos, stood on the stage with Carlos Silva and several TNA wrestlers, and he spoke about competing with NXT on Showdown. And they fired up. They chanted TNA. Dreamer says he knows if they're in. He says he knows they're NXT, but we are a family. At one point, they cut off something that he said. He must have been cussing. Dreamer removed his jacket to show off a TNA shirt. Dreamer, keep your fucking clothes on, dude. For the love of God, keep your clothes on, please. Dreamer said that they would take NXT to this stream and kick NXT's ass. So we'll see that. But yeah, I don't know. Jason Powell has a good point. Dreamer has always been a good promo, but I'm not a fan of him making him the voice of the company. Mike Santana has been positioned as the locker room leader, so it would have been better coming from him. That is a great point. That is a fantastic point. Mike Santana should have been the one to give the speech, and honestly, he probably would have given a better speech. If you want to have Tommy Dreamer in the background for that, he's an executive there. He's a well-known, loved guy. Everybody loves Tommy. Me too. I'm an old ECW guy, so of course I love Tommy. I'm critical of him now because he's in a position of power, but it comes with the territory. But Mike Santana should have been in that segment. Okay. We had a really good Mara Shade vignette. She talked about getting into wrestling because she watched Total Divas. Now, she's 4 years into her career. She's had a bunch of injuries. She got fired from her dream job, but she said that was just the light at the end of the tunnel. She's in NXT now, so there you go. And then they previewed NXT Showdown, of course. So there you go. Then we got Angel Warriors. Zaya Brookside and Lei Ying Lee defeat Kat Von Hees. Is she supposed to be Kat Von D? And Ava Lawless. So there you go. Little squash match. But I like the Angel Warriors. I wonder if we're gonna get the Aztec Warriors and maybe they'll fight. That'd be stupid. So Joe Hendry was delivering a promo from a stairwell about how he beat Eric Young at Victory Road, and the Santino said, for whatever reason, Anthem is forcing Joe Hendry to wrestle Eric Young in an ODQ match. And Santino was like putting the heat on the execs, but it's like, you're in charge. Okay. So he goes to Carlos, I guess. I don't know. And then a really cool Mike Santana video package aired. And Mike Santana was sitting in a chair, and Amazing Red was walking behind him. And Amazing Red was kind of being a dick, talking about how big of a failure he is. But it was good. Just talking about how disappointed him and Spanish announce team and Homicide were, how they're disappointed, and he let them all down. I was like, God damn, that's tough. But I thought it was really good. I thought it was fantastic. And I thought Amazing Red was really good. So good, in fact. I hope that he comes out to the ring with Amazing Red. We need more Amazing Red on television in 2025. I know he's like in his early 40s and he battled some injuries, but he's still like a pretty young guy. And, back in the early days of the X Division, Amazing Red was that dude. Like, he was legit. And it sucks that he got hurt, but he was fucking fantastic. Him and AJ and Loki and Jerry Lynn and those guys, they ruled. Frankie, for sure. Chris Sabin, hell yeah. That was an awesome crew. Chat, I will get to you guys in a little bit. I promise I will be getting to you guys. All right. Let's see here. Nick Nemeth versus Hometown Man. Nick Nemeth got the victory there. Afterwards, Matt Cardona ran out and tried to help Hometown Man, but the Nemeths got the better of him. So I'm curious if they're going to go back to a tag match, which I hope they don't, or like Dobby said, that this is going to be a part. The Angle is going to be a part of the Gauntlet match. We'll see. Gia Miller promo aired. Can I say Gia Miller might be the best promo in the whole company? I think she's like right up there with Santana. Definitely better than Tommy. She said she was attacked by Tessa. Tessa's a dick. And then she challenged Tessa to face it Bound for Glory. And then, of course, Tessa accepted. So she said she's going to know who. Yeah. So Miller said it's not about winning or losing. It's about beating Tessa within an inch of her life so that she knows who Gia Miller really is. I wonder if Gia Miller just starts wrestling from now on. And then they bring back Gabby Laspiza to be the backstage interviewer. I thought Gabby did a pretty good job. All right, Tasha Steelz versus Alicia Edwards. This wasn't any good. Lots of interference. Referee was terrible. But Alicia Edwards hit it over the kendo stick and a pedigree for the win. So there you go. After the match, Steelz hit Alicia from behind. Alicia rolled on top of Steelz, threw some punches. System members stood in the ring. Order 4 was on the floor. So there you go. Tessa Blanchard delivered a promo with Victoria Crawford stood by. Tessa said Tessa said that she trained at high spots under George South. Gia Miller wanted to be trained by South because she idolized her, but then Gia Miller left the school and went and got trained by a J word in Mike Jackson. You know, Tessa shouldn't be using slurs, like Tessa of all people. She called Mike Jackson the J word, which I got in trouble for. Jobber. Like, she shouldn't be saying that on television because apparently, like, according to fucking dipshit Chelsea Green, that is a bad word. Like, that's a slur, according to Chelsea and Mid Cardona. Dumb. But anyway, so they're going to fight. All right, Elegance. So we'll go to the main event. Elegance brand, Heather and M. We'll call her Maggie. Can we just call her Maggie? Like, why do it like M? No. Call it just Maggie. That's fine. Or give her a different name, but don't go M. The Elegance brand versus the Inspiration, Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay. And I gotta say, the crowd was there for it. The crowd was there for it. They wanted the title change. I think Heather and Maggie are a really good tag team. And I think Inspiration are a good act. This was the first time that I found the Inspiration to actually be over with the audience. They had a decent knockouts tag match. It was the main event, and the crowd was there for it. I got no complaints. I thought it was a good way to end the show. And I am disappointed because I hope that we are not going to break up Heather and Maggie, because I think Heather and Maggie are a really good tag team. Now, as you guys can tell, they're already building up the Angel Warriors. I don't want them to break up Heather and Maggie. That is their ammo. You have the tag titles for a while. You lose it to a new tag team, and then your tag team breaks up. I hope they keep the Elegance brand together. I think George Iceman is a good act. I like him with those girls. I think they can keep it alive. Nobody knows what's going on with Ash, and we all hope she's okay, but she may never come back. We don't know. But I think the gimmick works. I think it's a good gimmick. So, but all right, guys, there you go. Let me get to the chat here. All right. Hold on. I'm scrolling up. Okay. Online man, WWE wanted TNA's women's team to be mostly WWE so that when they win, it's basically WWE team winning. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Alter the Squirrels. Last night I quote retweeted a TNA clip and suggested they book Hometown Man versus Nick Nemeth, Mask versus Hair, and Hometown Man liked and retweeted it. So now I'm slightly worried. That's your fucking fault if it happens. You might actually be suspended from the show, Squirrel, if that happens. All right. AEW Righteous fans will go nuts listening to Mike right now. Yeah, they don't like me too much. Let's see. Tessa versus Lei Ying Lee was fun. Yes, that was a really good match for sure. Thank you guys for reminding me of that match. That actually was probably Tessa's best match since being back with the company. TNA should hit Vancouver. Let's see. Tummy Dreamer still thinks it's 1999. Good to see Amazing Red. Amazing Red with the rub. With the rub some dirt on it promo to get it done was fantastic. Yeah, I thought Amazing Red was awesome. Jobber, so Hammeregger is no longer able to be used. So I think Hammeregger is not a slur. Like, you can get around it, but Jobber apparently, according to Chelsea, is a slur. Glad the Inspiration earned this reign. They let the Inspiration earn the reign. So I mean, when they signed them, we all knew where this was going. But yes, I'm glad they didn't win on the first night like they did the last time they were in the company. I think they're a good act. They're a good act for TNA. I just think that the Elegance Band is better at this point. And I like the Angel Warriors, but I also like Harley Hudson and Myla Grace, and I'd like to see them get on television. We need some, fresh young blood. And those like inspiration kind of it's a WWE act, that was over at one point. They seemed over this week, but since they've been back, they have not been over. They've just been bland. So, and then everybody agrees, keep the Elegance brand together. Maybe we need to make t-shirts for that. But I do like the Elegance brand. I like George Iceman. I like the whole act. I think they do a great job. Okay, guys, that is going to do it for me this week on Brace for Impact. And until next time, mahalo.